welcome back to a fantastic another episode of Who What Now Gaming, the podcast for consumers by consumers, where we ask the questions: who are you, what got you into gaming, and what type of gamer are you now? I am your humble host, Josh Stewart, and today we have an absolute treat, a fantastic opportunity here for me personally, front page of Twitch, Stardew Valley player, mutual friend of episode 2 here, and sponsored all around. Welcome, please, round of applause, CtrlAltQuin. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm great. Happy to be here. But there's one thing I want to correct. I'm terrible at. I just started learning Stardew. It is a hot mess.
Well, you are more advanced into Stardew than I am, because I just started it and I am on day 4 and I am losing my mind.
I've just
I
been digging holes. I think that's what you're supposed to do. And I found some kids who were trying to break into a sewer. Like that's that's all I've really done.
yeah. Yeah, I went to before I stopped playing, I went to sleep and then I woke up and it was raining and a crow was eating my crops and I was like, "Man, it's day 4. Like
What?
I'm
Spoilers?
just trying to play the game. Like
That
I don't even
happens?
know what I'm
Oh,
doing, you know?"
dang. That's scary. So yeah, happy to be
So,
here.
yeah, let's just dive in here. Tell me about who you are. Let's just for like the listeners, I don't know how nobody would know who you are, but I mean, please.
Yeah. So my name is Quinn. Control Alt Quinn, Lancaster, born and raised. I am a Twitch partner, an ambassador for many companies. I've been streaming full time since 2020, but I've been streaming and creating gaming influencer content on the internet since 2018. Before I was a streamer, my background was in human resources, and before with moonlighting in photography and film, working on like commercials and things like that. So like I have an extensive background in like video production and stuff like that, and comedy and stage performance. And my favorite color is purple. I don't know if I could just throw that in there just to mix it up so my brain can catch up to what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I like to play a lot of like tabletop RPG stuff because I'm an actor and entertainer. Like it's fun for me. And yeah, I started making YouTube videos when I was 13, which was a long time ago. And I don't know. I always wanted to be in the gaming space, but like a host and stuff, like inspired by like G4, watching like machinima videos and things like that as a kid. It was like, I want to do that. So I did it. It took a long time, but I did it because there's no class or course in college, or it probably is now. But when we were kids, that was just like, so you want to be an influencer or you want to be a host without going like a
Mm-hmm.
journalistic route. Also, that's another thing that I did for a while, like journalism, writing game reviews and things like that that no one read. So that's who I
Oh
am.
no. Well, that's that. I mean, first off, quite a journey. I mean, it definitely seems like you knew exactly what you wanted to do for quite a while,
Yeah.
and pursuing that. I mean, clearly, nailed it. You know, um, that's fantastic. Holy cow! Um, wow. So
Sorry.
you no, I was just like I wanted to make like notes. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got talking points. I had to like hit on the TTRPG stuff. Like I am a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan.
Uh-huh.
So like TTRPGs is one of those topics that I love talking about, especially since I have only played Dungeons and Dragons. So I know that there are
Oh.
so many like tabletop role playing games out there that are fantastic that I just have not maybe had the opportunity, or maybe I wasn't in the right place at the right time or so. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's like I my experience personally is only D&D. So I wanted to like I had to write that little note down, you know.
Oh, yeah. D&D is awesome. But as far as like other games that I've like played, I do a lot of one shots of like one shot story based like things for stream.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm so extra. Like I'm an entertainer. There was one time I was trying to plan like this citywide LARP experience based in like the cyberpunk universe when I was like 19, and everyone was into it. But then when you start to realize how much planning goes into doing something like that, you have to like kind of slow your roll. But that's just the type of person I am. Like I'm like an ideas person. I'm like, I want to do this citywide thing, and everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. Blah blah blah. We're writing all these ideas. It's like, okay, now let's go to businesses and let them like ask them if they will let us have this as like a check-in
Right.
point and stuff. And how do we make sure people are being honest or not lying? But then like there's gonna be a bunch of people dressed like Fallout or like some cyberpunky sort of like running around town, and it never happened. But like I'm really into like LARP stuff. Like I love that. Put me in a costume. I want to be somebody else, you know?
That is fantastic. I have never had the opportunity to do so, but I have always wanted to. I see like, you know, there's videos out there of people who set up like full like campaigns and stuff, and even like over on Dropout, there's Brendan Lee Mulligan. He does like a whole lot of like LARPing stuff, and I've always been, you know, I don't even know if I can actually consider it a passion because I've never done it, but
Mm-hmm.
it is something that once the opportunity's there, I'm gonna jump on board. You know?
Yeah. This is a gamer question, but have you ever played Ingress?
No.
So Ingress is this mobile game where it's Pokemon Go. It's the same people who made Pokemon Go. So their first game
Okay.
was Ingress, and then they made Pokemon Go. And we all remember where we were when
Oh.
Pokemon Go came out.
Yep.
But it was a game like that. It was like a citywide, like kind of LARPing sort of thing that everyone can
Mm-hmm.
participate in with their games. We were all like sitting in the park doing it. Ingress is more like have you ever played Watch Dogs? It's more like cyberpunk sort of like feel. Like
Yeah.
there's all these like bases that are based on like what's the word I'm looking for? Like churches or landmarks.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
go there and you have to like fight other people who might be like in the area, but it wasn't as popular as Pokemon Go obviously was. Yo, that was so fun. So it's like before Ingress existed, I was trying to create that, but just like without the tech side. Because I don't know that.
Yeah. I remember when Pokemon Go came out, we would like take a walk. Like my wife and I would take a walk to the park, and then we would, you know, sit down at a bench and we'd, you know, take a couple of the gyms, and then we were like, all right, well this is good. We've taken the gyms. We'll move on, and we'd start walking, start heading home, and then, you know, you'd see on the map it would blip up that the gym you just took over is now taken again, and we're like, wrap it up. We're going back. We're going
We gotta
back.
go
You know,
back.
like we
Sitting in the
gotta go
parking
back.
lot. Yep. That's so good.
No, it was fun times. So as a gamer and as a streamer, what is like maybe your favorite game or maybe favorite genre of games that you find yourself constantly going back to?
Oh my. Okay, so I am a huge World of Warcraft nerd. It's definitely like my comfort game. I've been playing WoW since 2007. Yeah, I was like 16, 17. And I don't know. I've been playing for so long. Every time I'll take breaks, right? Because it's like a black
Mm-hmm.
hole. You can never truly quit World of Warcraft. But
Yeah.
I think it's like this kind of relationship of I have so many good memories there and so many friends. So it's like it's a place that I call home. It's like my second life. Um, but I play so much WoW that I don't even consider it a part of like my. It's just like it's a part of me. But like when people ask me what do you play, I always kind of exclude it because
Yeah.
it's just like it's me. Like I play, I don't know. I really do love MMOs. I like RPG games that have like really good narratives. Not saying that having it, there's some that just don't hit. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
honest. Not all game is
Yeah.
going to be a best, like the best story, but I really get like, I love Far Cry. Here we go. Far Cry has some amazing narrative work within those games. And even though, like, when it comes to certain Ubisoft games, it's like the
Mm-hmm.
same game mechanics over and over again, like between that and what's the other one? Assassin's Creed. They just kind of improve on the mechanics they're already doing.
Yeah.
But the stories are so rich and I don't care. I'll do the same thing over and over again with different characters. That's totally fine, because the
Yep.
stories make it worth it. Um, there's games that I cannot play. Like I can't play games like StarCraft. My brain just can't handle that shit. Can I say shit?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Please,
my
fucking go
brain can't
nuts.
handle.
It doesn't.
So, uh, I just can't do it. Like the top down, like managing of stuff, which is also why I'm terrible at Stardew Valley. There's too much to manage, and my ADHD is like, nope.
Yes, 100%. I I don't think I've ever related more. Yes. Uh, have you um have you looked into like Baldur's Gate 3 at all?
Yeah, so I played Baldur's Gate 3 at launch. I was actually a part of the campaign. Um,
What?
yeah, and I played launch first week. It was a gig that I had. It was not for me. It's so hard. It's so hard. Like I like that you can, as opposed to like previous ones where like you can like kind of move your camera angle, but it still doesn't
Mm-hmm.
help me. And it is just too much. But one thing I will say is I all the awards like and accolades that I got deserved fully. And another thing for me, gamer weird thing, or I don't know, neurodivergent brain bullshit, is the sound mixing in that game was like so visceral. Like I remember playing it and there's this, I had to pull something out of like some ushy gushy gooey like alien thing, and I was
Yep.
like doing it and I could hear like the sloshing in my head and I was like, oh, I can't do like it broke me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't do this. And that's how I know it's so good. The mixing, the
Yeah.
engineering is amazing. Way to go, team.
Yeah. Well, I am it's probably in like of recent games, probably one of my favorite games, but I think it's probably because I feel like I can sink myself so deep into that game and I can
Mhm.
become my character. And it's almost like, my version of like, getting really deep into the role playing aspect of the
Oh
game.
yeah, yeah.
And I've always loved a game that I can play all the way through and enjoy immensely, but then restart the game and A and Z can be exactly the same, but how I get there is entirely different, and
The
I
experience.
love that.
Yeah.
um so you let me circle there. So Twitch streaming, you make a lot of clips, you make a lot of videos, you have a lot of gaming moments. What is probably one of the best gaming moments in your opinion
Oh.
that you have ever experienced?
Trying to figure out a way to make this a little bit okay. So, like in a certain game category or just overall?
Anything, whichever is like the most memorable, like a fun story, a moment that made you feel just like an absolute badass, like just something that truly is like this
Oh
was the
yeah.
gaming experience.
Okay, so about a year and a half ago, I played Call of Duty. What's the Warzone? See, like
Mm-hmm.
I like FPS games, but I'll admit like I've definitely shied away from like Call of Duty because broadly gestures, it's the same thing on a heckin' time.
Yeah.
So I was part of this campaign where I was playing Warzone with two amazing Warzone players, like ranked people. And we were playing on the front page of Twitch, and I'm like, I haven't played this in a while or barely. And during our gameplay, like we were just like talking and stuff, and I was like, like I was so nervous. And right before the time ran out for our segment, like they both got knocked. I picked them up, and we won the game. And for me, not having played that like with trios or played that game in years or months or whatever, for that to happen, I was just like improving it. Like, look, everybody, I just am here and I did this and I saved esports players. What? Like, who does that?
Yeah.
It was cool. I was very proud. So that'll be like one of my favorite gaming moments
Oh, hell yeah.
for a game I don't
Absolutely.
even really like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've kind of pulled away from like the Call of Duty stuff like as it is. It's gotten to be a little much for me personally, to be honest. But I mean, I enjoyed it when it was like a fun,
In its heyday.
you know, yeah, exactly. After work I get home, I just want to kind of like play a couple rounds or so, but it's kind of become something almost entirely different. And I don't know. I've noticed that a lot in games these days, where I feel like we're kind of almost like shying away from what made games amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
more of like what makes games to the point where it's like so Call of Duty generally comes to mind. And I don't want to like shit on them, because I think it's they're developed, they're a great company and stuff, but at the same time I feel like every time I get on there, I'm getting like advertisements for like buy this
Mm-hmm.
pack, or buy this skin here, or buy this whatever and stuff, and I'm just like, I just want to play the game, like
Yep.
I just want to sit down and like run a few maps and stuff. And it's gotten to the point where like lobbies have become so toxic and aggressive, to be honest. And it's gotten to the point where like sometimes like I just have to mute everything, because if my kids are in the room, I'm like, hey, they're gonna hear some stuff that I don't feel like explaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it would be nice to see maybe that aspect of the game kind of come down, but I don't think it ever will. I think that's kind of just become a part of the game these days.
Yeah, it's more or less, it's not about the experience, it's about what makes it profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Um Call of Duty, I really like every time I'm in it or a new game comes out or something, it's just like the same thing. It's like, hey, this is going to have zombies. This one's not. This one's going to
Mm-hmm.
have zombies. This one's going to bring back these old maps. This one's not going to
Yeah.
have those old. I'm done. But in that same vein, like Fortnite and PUBG. So like I played PUBG first, and then when Fortnite came out and people started playing that, like I've been playing Fortnite since launch too,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been able to see this growth and the change in the game, especially like in the marketplace. And then when the no build thing came out, and I think they released it on like an April Fool's Day, but then it like everyone liked it, so they kept it.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, but this isn't even Fortnite
Yeah.
anymore. Like the point of Fortnite is to build, and that's what Save the World is about too. Like the
Yeah.
so I was just like, this isn't even Fortnite. I'm still a builder. Like I still play and I build. And then all these people who suddenly are like tired with the monotony of Call of Duty come over is like, oh, now these kids won't build over me. I'm just gonna play this
Mm-hmm.
no build mode. I'm like, do you realize you're playing the same game? Like,
Yep.
it's just But
It just looks different. It's 100%. Yeah, and I will I will say, I've tried it. I am not I'm not good at building at all. It is I'm the strategy of I can't build up or out at all, but I
huh?
can put objects in front of me to kind of just kind of like block the shots.
Yeah, which
But
is the
that's
base,
about
like,
my
right?
extent.
Build a wall. So, like, you
Hmm.
get shot, boom, you just box yourself in. Like, I don't know. The game's uh, like Call of Duty, where you're just like dropping in and then you
Yeah,
kill, and it's all about stacking kills and accuracy and shots like this. There's no stakes. The stakes aren't
yeah,
high. And I like games where the stakes are high. Like if you die, you die in real life. Just
yep.
kidding. No. If you die, like die. And that's
I
what I
mean,
love about Fortnite.
that's
If he dies, he dies. Like
yeah, that's well, there was what was the other so there was like the big battle royale games. So there was like PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty. Wasn't there a fourth one?
H1Z1 or
Oh,
something like
that's
that,
right. Yeah.
which was basically it was PUBG. It was
Yeah.
PUBG.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. Do you ever play any like survival type of like games like those?
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that I don't like about PUBG, if we're gonna like move out of the whole FPS battle royale thing, I don't like the gun system. Like you
Mhm.
really have to know about guns and stuff and pieces and crap. It's too much realism. Um, that's why I never really got into it and got more into Fortnite or
Yeah.
Switch, where I go between both. It depends on who I'm playing with. But as far as like survival games, I play 7 Days to Die. I'm a huge Rust person. I love Rust. I have so many hours in Rust. As fun. I played Ark for a bit,
Mm.
but like honestly, I'm not really a fan of dinosaurs as much as I thought I
Yeah.
was. um, I like The Forest. Have you ever played The Forest?
I have not had a chance to, but I have watched
Ah,
hours on like other people streaming or like YouTube videos.
yeah, I love that game. That's another fun survival. Uh, yeah, I really like that shit.
Yeah, my so I have raging ADHD and a wonderful neurospicy brain. So my wife always would kind of like poke fun in a loving, playful way. But every time I'd play like Ark, she would be like, "Oh, well, dinosaurs are your thing," and I'm like, "No, like, but I get the joke, like, all right." Um, but I play,
Dinosaur.
yeah, I
Sorry.
played the shit. You're fine. I played the shit out of 7 days to the point where I was kind of like maneuvering the or like adjusting like the scales and stuff just so I could get to certain like points fast enough, because at a certain point
Hmm.
I'm like, well, life's getting in the way, so like I'm trying to speed up the beginning process so I can get into like the like real survival-y aspect, and then just to have fun, get the base, get the the barriers around everything, get some resources, and then just shut all of those off so that it's just me, the base, and a world that's trying to kill me. And
Yeah.
something about that is just weirdly really fun to me,
It's
like it's
so fun.
yeah, that challenge. I think that's probably what it is. It's the challenge aspect of knowing that, like, especially in those games, if you die in that game, anything you're holding, like, you can get it back, but it's a pain in the ass. Like, you got and
Yeah.
and you got to hope that you died somewhere relatively close to your base, or
Mm-hmm.
else it's a while. It's going to
Right.
be some time.
Yes. The stakes are so high. Um. Yeah. That's kind of how Rust is. Like
Mhm.
you to be out and like I don't know, like a bear will just spawn and kill you, and if you're so far away from your base where you're going to spawn back at, and then there's other players in that, and they come across your body, like that's just bye, like that's gone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, it's so frustrating, but it helps you play smarter.
Yeah.
Um, it helps you be more, like watching your corners, more cognizant of what's happening around you, and I like that.
Yeah, I always liked that moment when you've put that time in, you've put the effort in, you've got a strategy, and then you die. And then there's a part of your brain that is just like, I'm done. I don't want to play this. Why did I even try to, to do this?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, well, it sounds like you hate this game. And you're like, no, 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 you've misread
No,
me.
I love it. This
I
is my
love
favorite
this
game.
game. This is the best thing in my life. Like,
That's how I feel about WoW. There's
mm-hmm.
times where I'm like doing like random like dungeons and stuff with like a random party, like in Dungeon Finder or people, and then as soon as something goes wrong in one of those dungeons or people start complaining, I'm like, why do I even play this? I hate it. Like, why am I like this? I hate it. And I'm like, anyways, and I get out and I'm like, oh, I want to play WoW again. Like, it's just, is that addiction? I don't know.
Mm.
Is it insanity? I have no idea. But it's like, it helps me be better to, I don't know. I'm just making excuses now.
I love it. Well, for those, so I never had like a PC that I was able to play WoW on.
Uh-huh.
So it was one of those games where I've watched a lot of people play. But what about WoW specifically just consistently draws you back in day after day?
Uh, well, one, there's like an amazing narrative, with so many like intersecting like races and stuff within the game, this like whole world. But I think the biggest thing for me is community. Um, when I was like a kid, when I got my first computer, and I started playing WoW, I just, even if I wasn't in a guild or if I was just by
Mm-hmm.
myself running around, like doing quests and stuff, there, the whole idea of like running into people, like just in the woods, just like doing the same thing, like you were never really alone. It was,
Mm-hmm.
but I was alone. Oh, this is depressing. Well, it's not depressing. This is real life. This is a gamer story. But like in my real life, I felt alone, you know? But like in game and WoW, I felt like I was never alone and I had like purpose. Like I had things to do that affected this like global narrative within it. And it's just always been that thing for me. And I always come back to it.
That's
Um,
incredible. I really I love the way that you just put that where you almost tried to correct yourself and say it's sad but it's not sad, it's that gamer story. I never got to play WoW, but I got into RuneScape. And
mm.
RuneScape was one of those ones where like I was like, oh, I can play this, and then I would like, so I would play it at this old computer that I had in my room when I was a kid. And then when I would get like grounded and stuff, and they were like, oh, you can't have your computer, they're like, instead you need to go to the library and learn something. So then I'd go to the library and I'd log on to that computer and I'd play, RuneScape there. And it was like that moment where I was like, yeah, you know, big brain move, you know what I'm saying?
You can't stop
But
me.
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But I was thinking like, it was this moment where like I didn't have a whole lot of the friends I did have were those who were, maybe like visiting family in like my neighborhood, or maybe like came from a family where maybe mom or dad lived like in a completely different state. So like there were friends that I had that I didn't get to see as often as I would like to. And so there was a lot of time where I would just, it was just me inside, with like a, video game or action figures or Legos or, what have you. And RuneScape was like that moment for me when I when I realized that like I could almost pretend to be this person on my own quest with
Mhm.
my own whatever, and I'm out there because I'm out there not because I'm trying to be alone, but because I'm fighting for like some greater good. Boy, that does
Yeah.
sound really sad, man. We're gonna have to
It it
I'm gonna
it
pull that one
sounds
back.
sad, but also like it saved us, you
Yeah.
know? Like dear video games, you saved
Mm-hmm.
us in our vulnerable, lonely teen years, like, and still do, right? It feels
Yeah.
good. Shout out video games.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had multiple conversations like with my wife about video games and stuff, and we've talked about like how sometimes people get into relationships where the first thing to go are video games, and
Uh-huh.
I'm very very lucky that I have my lovely wife understands that video games are a they're an aspect of my life that I need, and it's
Mm.
not an addiction. It's not a wow, he has to have his video games. It's that it's the end of the day, kind of stress relief. It's the being able to let my mind wander. It's
Mm-hmm.
in a strange way, I guess it's almost like my therapy. It's that vice that you need that doesn't harm you,
Mm-hmm.
and it is such a like I like to think of like it as it's a loving relationship that I have with the gaming and gaming industry stuff, that it's not something that negatively affects me. It's something that kind of helps me maintain the peace in my own mind,
Uh-huh.
and in order to have a positive thriving relationship on the outside, I have to make sure that my inside brain is also thriving.
Yeah, yeah.
So I very much have a huge, like, if I could ever shake gaming's hand, I'd do it. Yeah.
Like, could I give, hey, bro, you want a hug?
Yeah.
Gamer,
Oh,
gaming, oh.
feels so good. I would love a gaming hug, I'm telling you. So with everything, basically the path that you have taken from begin well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Starting streaming, going Twitch, and then to now, what was that
Mhm.
journey like? I'm genuinely very curious.
Uh, yeah. So, like I said, in my intro, I've always been fascinated by, well, I'm a lifelong gamer, been playing video games since there wasn't a time where I wasn't gaming, like my whole
Mm-hmm.
life. And then in the age of the internet, like, 2005, 2004, like, I started to like get, and when E3 was like popping off and there was like G4, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to be able to take this passion I have of games and do what these people are doing. And me and my siblings used to like record, like literally have like a camcorder and record ourselves playing games, like recording the TV while we're in there, like doing commentary. And oh my God, and we would like take those videos and like put them on our YouTube channel, and it looks like terrible because it's like, if you don't understand like capture cards and stuff, you're just kids who are
Yeah.
trying to do a thing. It was so crunchy, but it was still fun. Like, me and my brother Justin, that was like our dream, where we would like play games and just like have back and forth banter and commentary with each other in the same room, and just like, we're so funny, we gotta put this up, like, we want to be these people. Like, and he would write a lot of like game reviews and stuff, but he was like the one who always kind of like pushed it further. Like, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
send my game review and email it to Nintendo Power. I'm going to like shoot my shot, and he was in Nintendo Power twice for
Oh
like game
wow.
reviews. Yeah. Um like he was like, the worst thing they can say is no. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's true. I'm not a strong writer. I'm definitely more of like an on camera type person. And you know, that was our dream, to be like the faces, the kids that we did not see, the people that we did not see in these spaces, people who looked like us, who had our sense of humor. We wanted that. And then my brother got sick and um, had cancer. My brother passed away from leukemia. And I
Sorry.
just kind of did like a hiatus for a bit of like, what am I doing with my life? And sorry, I'm getting emotional. But I just
You're
started working
absolutely
in like
fine.
arts and photography. I just wanted to do art stuff. I never stopped playing video. I was still playing games. And I tried to strengthen my writing skills because there's no clear path into the gaming industry. Back then,
Mm-hmm.
especially, like, I think the only game schools that were really advertised were like Full Sail. Like, you want to go to Full Sail University in Florida and to make games and be like the cool, like, that's it. But there was all these other ways you can get in, but you had to put in the work. And I
Yeah.
would like start shooting my shots at like publishers and stuff, or like looking at conventions and like being a quote unquote booth babe, going and working for free and dressing however they wanted me to, and just, hey, come play these games, hot boys. Like, I don't know, just like stupid shit, like things where I had to like really like minimize myself as a person just
Mm-hmm.
to try and get a leg in the industry. And for femmes, and especially femmes of color, like it was, it seemed impossible how much volunteer work I did for publishers while trying to get my foot in the door is insane. So anywho's, and I was doing that while also like working a full-time job and then starting a family. um I was doing everything such as like, I'm not gonna let my brother's dream just like, I'm gonna get this done somehow, it's gonna happen, I'm gonna work in the gaming industry. And I was working for Nintendo, shit you not, I was working for Nintendo
What?
at PAX East. Oh, which PAX East was that? I was working at the Nintendo booth at PAX East 20. I guess that would have been 13. 13, PAX East 13 or 14. No, it was 14.
Okay.
14. Or 18. I don't know. I've gone to a lot of cons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 2018. Me and Sierra Foss, I don't know if you know Sierra Foss, we went to PAX East because he was like, the person who was trying to fan the flames too, like, yeah, let's do it, Quinn, let's do it. Like, we're going to get you like gamer famous. And I was working for Nintendo at a booth, and then I was at an after party, and someone saw me and they're like, hey, are you a Twitch streamer? And I was like, no. And they're like, you should be. And then when I came home, I downloaded Twitch and I started building my account, my brand. I would start streaming from my PS4, and it was hard at first, because like you started and it's just like, okay, what am I going to do here? I want to play these games, like I have all these things, but you're by yourself. And then your chat, there's like zero people in your chat, and it doesn't just happen, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
easy. And then you have to like talk to yourself. You have to keep the conversation going. So I would like, when I would be driving to work, I would start practicing talking to myself. Like, oh, this stop sign, way to go, stop sign, or I'm gonna turn left here. Oh, there goes that guy. He's always waiting for the bus. Like, I just started making it like a everyday practice for me to talk to myself. Then when I would stream, I'd be doing the same thing about the game I was in, and then people would come in and they would hear that, and then it just slowly started to grow, and here I am now.
Wow. That is incredible. That is how is this, how is that story not like published somewhere? That is like the victory, like the tale. I don't know how. Well, I can't up that. The the only thing I can relate to is, doing the car thing. But I try to, prepare for, the podcast, and obviously, like, I know who's going to be on, week after week, and so uh while I'm like going to work, or even my kids will help me out. I'll be driving to drop them off at school, or for pickup and stuff, and I will do like the mock interview stuff. But
Uh-huh.
my kids always give me that the goofy answers, and so I'm like, all right, buddy, like I thanks for the help, but I'm gonna need like a real conversation there. So, um
Yeah. I don't know, like talking to yourself like really helped, and it's really cool now to be on this side of it, and there's still so much things I want to do. I'm not done yet, but like I made it, you know what I mean? And that's cool. I know my brother would be like super freaking proud of me. And it's cool to be like a special guest and not an exhibitor, right? Like they give you these badges when you go to cons. And like for so
mhm,
long, I was an exhibitor because I was working at
mhm,
these booths for free, like 8-hour days standing around doing demos for people.
yeah.
And it's like now, everywhere I go, every con, I have a special guest badge. Like I'm a speaker. I'm on the website. Like that's just mind blowing to me. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Like it
No,
feels
it
good. I'm like, damn,
a
like, yeah, I
hundred
did
percent
this shit. Like, yeah.
absolutely. No, absolutely. Celebrate every a bit of that accomplishment. That is a fantastic feat. Um, so so we have a couple listeners who also are looking to kind of just like get themselves out there. Even just like
Uh-huh.
myself, if you were to maybe like say like advice or something, or someone to those who may not be as confident to put themselves out there, that they need that extra like pat on the back, what do you think that would what that would be, that advice?
Um, sorry, there's a motorcycle going by my house. Did you hear
Yeah,
that? Sorry. Get a motorcycle. That's my first piece of advice.
that's the
Uh,
number one thing to do.
um, I would say be intentional and
Okay.
consistent. And yeah, I feel like those two things are key. Like when if you want to like be in this industry, or you want to start streaming or whatever, like know, be intentional about it when it comes to who you connect with and network with. Don't network with someone or like try to get to know them because they are bigger than you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like be a part of communities that are similar to yours. Be around people you actually like being around. Like,
Yeah, of course.
and who create content or inspire you in such a way. Be intentional about it, because that's really important, is it, in this space. And consistency is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's like one day a week. You're like, this is going to be the day I'm going to stream, or this is going to be the day, this evening I'm blocking it out. I'm only,
Mm-hmm.
if you're so busy you don't have time, and like we all have lives and kids or whatever your situations may be, pick one day that you're going to be consistent and commit to what you're trying to grow. That helped me a lot, because like when I first started and like this is what I want, especially like streaming, I was like, well, I'm just going to go live when I can, I don't know, when I can. And then when I started to
Mm-hmm.
grow, and then there was like people like, when is the next stream, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe this or that. You know what they're going to do when you're not there? They're going to be somewhere else.
Right.
They're asking you that for a reason. They want to hear you. They want to listen. They want to be in your community. They want to be in your space. They want to listen to your podcast, all these things. Be consistent. Say, I'm going to show up, guys, here. If you are here at this time, I will be there. I will have this. That's some advice. There was one more point I was going to make. Um, Oh, and be yourself. Be yourself. Don't pretend to be like, I'm someone like being a streamer is not a personality
Yeah.
archetype. It's something you do. Like look at it as I'm a person, a whole person with experience in life and a personality and a family and all these things and these passions who streams. I'm not a streamer. Like
Mm-hmm.
focus on your individuality and like speak about those things because that's how you like really build true strong communities or people are bonding with you for you, not because of what you do. Ooh, that was bars. That was a wrap. You for you, not push
Yeah,
it
I
you.
liked it. I liked it. That is fantastic. I don't even know where to. This whole experience has been just absolutely fantastic. I've been through the entire episode here. I've been like slow, having my fan moment, and it is really fascinating and fantastic just to be able to like have a genuine conversation, especially with someone who like has like felt the struggle from going from recording the television, playing the games, to like actually out there and knowing like the journey to go to cons and the communities and Twitch, streaming and stuff. And you're like A to, and I'm not even going to say it's Z. We're at like O right now, or I don't know, one of the other
I'm at
letters.
my O. I'm definitely
Yeah.
in my O era.
So, and I just, this is absolutely fantastic to like, I get the notification every time you go onto Twitch, and just see you like having genuine fun like while streaming is it's almost refreshing, to be honest. I do feel like I watch a lot of streamers and content creators who sometimes you get to a level where your videos are kind of like a facade in a way, and you become a
Yeah.
character. And to genuinely see someone having like a good time and enjoying everything around it, and the community purely enjoying just being in your presence is fantastic. It truly is a sight to behold. It's so, I mean, even just as one fan to a creator, thank you for doing what you're doing. It truly is an enjoyable experience.
uh Burnout is real in content creation, and I don't think I've ever really experienced yet, and I don't know if that means there's something wrong with that part of my brain, but definitely full stop. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't do it. Like, because people can tell when you're faking it.
Yeah, that
So,
was that's something that I have had a discussion with, even just doing this podcast. I think going into it is not something that I'm looking to achieve, but I just enjoy having fun, detailed conversation. I'm a backstory person. I love
mhm.
the backstory of everything. So when I get into conversations with people, sometimes I genuinely am like, oh man, I wish I could go back and then relive that conversation because it was so fun. And then a buddy of mine was like, hey, why don't you just like actually record them? And I was like, that's creepy. And they're like, no. Unless you say it's a podcast, then and I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
but it genuinely is something I really enjoy, and it's something that I think I'll always purely enjoy. So I mean, there it is.
Yeah. Boom.
Hey, so when it comes to video games these days, I know from your posts and your streams and stuff, you are a Star Wars fan,
Oh,
to say the
super
least.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars is my life.
So do you? So what is, because it is the probably one of the biggest topics and conversations that I have ever seen.
Oh gosh, I see where this is going.
You know where it's going. So I'll let you take it from here.
Star Wars games. So have you been seeing all the news that's happening with EA, and they're doing that whole stuff with the
Yep.
the new one that comes out on
Yep.
August 30th, which is my birthday,
Yep.
by the way.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, right. That was for me. So, but the EA and these microtransactions, like paywalling stuff. Okay, Star Wars Battlefront 2. OG. Memories,
Mm-hmm.
loved it. Great game. I feel like they haven't quite been able to get anything right. So I kind of shy away from Star Wars games because I get so mad. They're just like, there's one thing in my life that will get me 0 to 100, and it's stuff centered around Star Wars games where I'd rather not be frustrated. I just be like, you know what? I don't want to be that Star Wars nerd, you know? Like, I just rather like look from the shadows. But the Force Awakens was really good. That whole thing,
I loved
it. Loved it. And the RPG one that is out now with the dude who was in the ginger person who was in like a Joker or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was in Batman.
Plays Cal Kestis.
Yes. I have those games. Like I said, I didn't really play them. I played like a little bit through like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I love to watch them. And I will always watch people play Star Wars games. And something about that game was it felt like you were playing Star Wars.
Yes.
Right? Like it felt like you were in this universe, the world building, the scenery, the music. Like I felt like I was Cal. Like I was like, this feels good. I could watch, and that's why I can watch people play it. But yeah, those are my Star Wars game opinions.
Yeah, I actually I feel very much the same way. I feel like those two actually were the closest to hitting like the mark, whereas like Battlefront 2 has a special place in my heart, but only because of the nostalgia of it and like my back in like high school, my cousin ended up like moving like really close for about a year or so, and our favorite thing to do was we would like we would like do the online link thing. So it was just me and my army versus him and his entire army, and then we would just all Saturday long, and it was just this game, and we would just have
eating
this
pizza
constant
rolls
all day, and like listening to like Skillet and stuff. Like it was just this vibe of just that day, and that's what we did. And so like forever, that game will have that place in my heart. But not because it was like a fantastic game, but it was like that it was that bonding moment over a video game that drew my cousin and myself like closer together. After that, I didn't really like. I love Star Wars, but in a way that I feel like as big as the franchise is, I'm genuinely surprised every time a game comes out and it just doesn't hit where I feel like it should. It's kind of crazy.
It's so wild. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to Star Wars games, like my hopes, my expectations are always so low, and I wish that I didn't feel that way. And that was before Disney's acquisition and all this stuff related to the IP. Like it just didn't hit, and there was a big part of like Star Wars. There were too many cooks in the kitchen when you want to think about like the expanded universe, which I'm a fan of all of it, but like for me, it's just the universe. I like this universe. I don't have any like. I try to not have any opinions that would start like. No, my opinions are my opinions, but
Yeah.
I don't want to start a fight because like Star Wars nerds kind of do that. I'm just like when people ask me, it's like, "What's your favorite Star Wars movie?" and I'm like, all of them. Is that true? No. But really, when I think about to the core of like being in love with this galaxy, yeah, all
Hmm.
of them. Even if I don't really like this movie, it's still a part of this gigantic narrative in this gigantic universe that brings me joy. So
Yeah. No,
I rock with it. Yeah.
I'm there with you because I my favorite of the movies actually come down to two of them, and it doesn't matter which order I say them in, it will cause an uproar every single time.
So which
And
order? I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
don't care. I'll say it right here.
Okay,
Okay.
we have to run this podcast back and do another one someday where we just talk about Star Wars.
Hey, I'm absolutely down. My favorite of all of the movies is still and watch the flames rise up as this whole podcast burns down. Is episode 1. I
Oh no,
I genuinely like that movie. It is I you know, Darth Maul is the shit to me, and Jar Jar
Ep-
Binks is still the like comical relief that I felt like the movie
yeah,
needed, and everyone hates it.
uh
And
huh.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
I like it. I have a Jar Jar purse. I'll send you
yeah.
a picture afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my current backpack. So obviously, I don't know if listeners can't really see, but
Yeah.
I have so much Star Wars stuff, and I'm
Hmm.
obsessed with collecting Star Wars bags and purses. And I have a backpack right now I just got last year, and it's Jar Jar. And everywhere I go, I get compliments on it. But my controversial thing, since you shared something controversial, my favorite one is Attack of the Clones.
Okay. Yeah,
I
see
really love,
that one's
yeah,
not bad.
we have a lot in common.
Yeah,
But people
it's yeah.
always roast that one. I'm just like, no, it's so important for Padme and Anakin's story, but also like the clone stuff that's
Yeah.
going on, like sets so much for the universe. Like to get that backstory of it. Like people are like, oh, it's boring. I'm like, no, this is so important. Like it's an
Hmm.
important part of the story, and it's a fun movie. Oh, I wouldn't say
See,
fun. It's very serious, but
well,
I like
and
that.
the way that I always think about it is like, all right, say you don't like the movie. Say you know, Attack of the Clones is the ones that is the whole like, you know, small arc that you can't stand whatsoever. Okay. Take that movie out of all of like the entire broad, you know, collection of movies
Uh-huh.
and stuff. Does it make sense? No, because you need that movie,
Uh-huh.
and that, so like you can't say that the movie's not good because it is arguably one of the most important, because in order
Mm-hmm.
to get from, you know, the first, you know, to even like the you know, the stuff from like, you know, Rogue One and the movies that they put out, uh you know, I mean, the timeline or the movie timeline, you know, it's
Yeah.
all over the place. But if you put it in chronological order, it wouldn't make any sense if you took that movie out. So
Yeah.
it is hands down probably one of the most important movies, and it is fantastic, and I will stand by it.
So just to play a little bit more devil's advocate, we're like talking all this nerdy gamer stuff,
I love
but
it.
let's keep it right here. Star Wars. Is there one that you don't like? Like, what is your least favorite?
Oof. Probably, and I'm sure, you know, get in the comments because you know, I don't like I don't really like the like the last, was it 2 or 3 that they put out, like excluding Rogue One. I feel like, you know, with Rey and Kylo Ren, and like I get it, like
Mm,
they're interesting characters, and I enjoy that, but I feel like, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's not hitting the same as it did when I watched like, you know, 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and like it's just, there's something about it where I watch it and I just, by the end of it, and I go, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Like it
yep,
just
that was a
doesn't
movie.
it
Yep, I
doesn't
saw it.
hit it
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, it's not
Um,
there for it. And I don't and honestly I could not pinpoint the reasoning why it's not as memorable to me, but I also feel like there's uh I've always had the issue with like Luke Skywalker like turning, basically picking up a lightsaber for the first time, and and basically kind of like the story of being in tune with the Force. And I was like, this makes sense, but he's also like not a trained, like in the sense of like trained,
yeah.
Jedi. And then you also have almost like the same concept where Rey I actually forget. She was just like a collector or a farmer or something. But
Yeah, she was
before,
like an orphan.
yeah, and so
Like
I was
just kind
like,
of
well,
like
this seems familiar and stuff. And so I'm like, I get what we're doing, and I love the story of it, like the
mhm.
as a whole. I do love it. But as character development, I don't know. It just doesn't hit the way that I feel like I was expecting it to. I guess in a way. Oh, what are your
um
thoughts?
I would agree with you like about those last three. Um I think that The Last Jedi is an awesome movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Jedi, that's like the middle one, that
Mm-hmm.
slapped. Like
Yeah.
that was everything about it, like with Poe and they're on that like salt play, like everything about that movie, it set up so much good stuff. And then the Rise of Skywalker just kind of like blows it up.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for me to accept that Ray or Kylo Ren and like or Ben, like
Mm-hmm.
how he just kind of like turns at spoilers, but you can't tell me that this dude who's been like chasing and abusing you and your friends across the galaxy for like two movies, suddenly you're gonna kiss him. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was so disappointing to me. Like that was so unnecessary too. And what kind of message does that send for young femmes who might be watching it, right? Like this dude like is abusing you and suddenly he's like, "Okay, I don't want to be bad anymore." He saves your life and you're just like, "Okay, let's no, that's not cool." And her whole origin story was so frustrating to me. And I don't know if that's just because I desperately wanted her to be a Kenobi. I wanted her to be that,
Yeah.
to be her, because that made sense.
Yeah.
It's a part of stuff that's canon. Not like there's a bunch of stuff in expanded universe, but that's canon. That could have been a canon like line for them or vein because Obi-Wan does like have a partner in the Clone Wars, like
Mm-hmm.
in the animated series, which
Yeah.
Disney kept. So why would y'all do this whole this person is spawned from pure evil but is choosing to be no, it did not hit. It was messy. And I was at a midnight for the Rise of Skywalker. I was gonna see it back to back, so I
Oh
bought
yeah.
like yeah, so I bought like a midnight showing, and then the next one was gonna I would go home for like 15 minutes and I would go back to the theater and watch it again by myself because and I did not go to the second. I got in my
Mm.
car and cried. And that's a very
No.
embarrassing. I was so mad. I was so mad. I was that person. I cried. I got in my car and was like, just drove home. And I was like, that's some bullshit. And then
Dude.
I went on Facebook and it's like, does anyone want a ticket to like the next showing of Rise of Skywalker?
Oh
Free
no.
ticket. Here's the QR code. And I haven't seen it since. I have not gone back and watched it.
Yeah, I think at one point I'll probably go back and just kind of watch everything, just maybe see if maybe watching it consecutively maybe like alters any of my like opinions for it, but I I so much agree that there was such a prime opportunity to go from a canon to a confirmation, and just missed the mark. Like it was right there, and it would
Mhm.
have been a perfect, like it would have been a perfect moment, and as development to, creating like this lineage of character, and
Mhm.
then we just didn't. And
Yeah.
I kind of wonder, like, maybe storyboard, did nobody think about it, or what, or did was somebody was just like, this would be awesome, and they were like, nah, nobody's gonna believe this. Like,
And maybe like
it's
some of
like,
the
come
stuff they
on.
have planned for the future or whatever for that, maybe they want to introduce like, some family of like Obi-Wan or whatever like in the future, but for her to just be related to Palpatine, his
Yeah.
that was just so below. That was devastating. And Snoke, the whole, oh my gosh.
I, I'm already seeing it. This is gonna be, we're definitely gonna have to do just an episode to just break down the universe.
Speaking of Kylo Ren, here, let me show you this. I have this, and then I'll stop distracting. This is 3D printed.
Oh,
It's
nice.
Darth Vader's melted mask or helmet, the one that's like from Force Awakens and stuff that he
Yeah,
has. Like, I will finish what you started. Yeah, it's always on my desk.
that's fantastic. I need to get a 3D printer. There is so many nerd things that I want in, like, my space that I just don't have. Like, I mean, I've tried to spruce it up a little bit. I got, dice towers up there,
Uh-huh.
some nerdy knickknacks over here, and then I've got, my sleep token sign, big fan over there. But other than that, like, I want to get. I feel like I just need some better, just aesthetic stuff.
Yeah. I have too much. I will honestly say I have too much.
I don't think that there is a limit. I don't think you can have too much. I think the only issue becomes the framing of the camera isn't able to pick up the, like,
Hmm.
fantastic stuff you have in the background. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me show you something. Let me see here. What's that one? Oh, there we go. There's a lot. There's a lot of stuff.
Hey, you got a couple things.
Lots of
That's
like
fantastic.
comics and things. But anyways, yeah, Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars.
Do you ever get into any of the comics, or, like, well, Star Wars and just comics in general?
Yeah, I've comics is like a huge thing in my family. My dad's a huge comic book nerd. Um, and I worked at the comic book store.
Oh, did you?
Yep, from
Fantastic.
2009 to 2011. I worked at comic book store, the one near the train station.
Yeah, that one's great.
I love it. Yep.
Well, that's fantastic. Uh, I I see. I want to keep talking, but
Oh
we
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we
We don't
have a
want to go
time
over.
limit, and I have to be respectful for it. So I will say, um, thank you, from the bottom of my heart, and for the, the viewers of this show. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and just have a super awesome conversation with me. This has truly been, if anything, an absolute treat for me. I can't express how grateful I am for this. This was so fun. Is there any, man, it throws off my whole, like, the way I do the show, because you don't need a plug, but uh, is there anything that you would like to plug? I mean, it's like,
Yeah. So something I'd like to plug is that tomorrow is Mother's Day. And I just want everyone to uh, be cognizant and aware of folks who may not have their parents or their moms, but also call your mom, text your mom if you can, and know that I can be your mom. The cops are coming.
Yeah, that one's actually at my house this time.
Was that your house?
Yep.
Pop out the police. I will not be your mom. That was a joke. That's all I have to plug. But uh it's chaotic. I have nothing to plug. I'm just being silly. Happy Mother's Day.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you to all the moms out there.
Shout out mama.
If you want to find my sassy self, I am on Instagram at Phoenix Stewart. You can also find this podcast on YouTube at Who What Now Gaming. If you're watching this video, you nailed it. If you are a gamer or a TTRPG player, and you have a little bit of a spicy side, please go check out Danny Reads Dirty Books on TikTok before they ban that platform of joy. And please go check out, our wonderful friend of the podcast, Noah at Nerdy Noah Reads. Really diving deep into the gaming industry and everything related to and for gaming and news-related D&D type of articles. And you can also find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Spotify, podcasting, other podcast areas. And until next time, thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next one.